welcome to the Alumni Podcast. I'm your host, Jenifer Garcia, and joining us today is Dee Garcia, current multimedia production specialist for A&M San Antonio.
Hello. Hi.
Hey. How are you? What have you been up to?
I'm doing good. Some things that I've been up to today, like I said, I work here at Tamusa now, and doing lots of projects for upcoming events and a whole bunch of stuff happening. Commencement's coming up very quickly, so lots of video projects that I've been editing. So
That's really exciting. Can I ask, as a student, why did you choose to study communications, and then you also minored in psychology?
yeah, so I decided to study communications because when I was in middle school, I used to do a lot of, so I'm going to use my hands for a second. I used to do a lot of video editing as a hobby in middle school. Didn't do it so much in high school, but then when I came to college, originally I was actually a kinesiology major.
Oh.
And after the first semester, I was like, you know what, like, this isn't for me. And I was really sat down and thought, you know what do I want to do with my life? And I was like, I really love video editing. That's my passion. That's my just everything. And I told my parents, I was like, I can make it a career. Like, trust me, I can make it a career. And they said, okay, sure. And so I changed it to communications with a minor in media, and look where I'm at now. So
Yeah, that's really cool, honestly.
and you said minor in psychology, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
you did.
My minor in psychology was just because I wanted I wanted to study something very interesting, and I've always loved the human brain and how it works, why we do what we do, and so it was just a fun portion to take. So
Yeah, that is interesting. As a communications major, you're actually not. It's not a requirement, but it's one of the two you can do between psychology and sociology. So I took psychology last semester. Actually, it was pretty interesting.
which class did you take?
Oh, I don't know more specific. Like,
Okay.
General psychology.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
interesting one. That's the
Yeah,
I like that one.
generals.
Yeah, the general psychology.
Yeah. Okay. So you graduated in 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That means you were a student here during the COVID pandemic. How does that change your college experience?
Oh yeah, it changed it completely. You know, when COVID happened during spring break, all my friends were like, "Yeah, an extra week off for spring break. Let's go party." And I'm like, everyone was like, "Oh, I think this is kind of serious." So everything switched, you know, from being in person, having in-person classes, to everything went to online classes, and it was a big jump for everybody in that situation, both professors, students, everything. So I personally don't do well with learning online or asynchronous, but I had to do what I had to do and learn that way as much as I could. So it was teaching myself, teaching students, helping each other in other Zoom rooms, and so it was a little difficult, but we all got together at the end. You know, once COVID started kind of lifting up a little bit. So
Yeah. Would you say there were any resources that really helped you learn?
YouTube.
YouTube?
YouTube was a
YouTube?
big one.
Yep.
YouTube was a big one with learning. And then just going out and practicing. I mean, I know there wasn't much you could do back then, but I was in a photography class during the pandemic. And so it was a lot of, well, you've got to figure it out yourself, kind of, you know. And so I just took the camera out and I just started going to parks, open spaces, and just trying to take as many photos as I could just to get that handle on practicing for the class. So making sure I got a good grade for it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to go into about how, as a communications major, especially with the concentration in media, a lot of the classes are hands-on. So, like, I know I'm taking, like, photojournalism right now and media writing, and for that you have to go out there and socialize to practice. How did that change your classes?
Like I said, yeah, very much changed it. So, yeah, photojournalism was the class that it was like, oh, like, you gotta just go out and do it. But luckily, I think, I can't remember if it was that semester after, or I know definitely not that semester, but the semester after, I think, is when they started kind of allowing some in-person classes, you know, having to get checked out, making sure your temperature, everybody had to wear a mask. So everything was not exactly back to normal, but it was also learning how to social distance, how to interview people at social distance, how to make sure that everyone's okay, you know, and so it was just definitely different because nobody had prepared for that. So
You know what? I actually hadn't thought about that. You know?
yeah, because you're so close to like you gotta be 6 feet apart, you know, and it's like you want to shake their hand. It's nice to meet you. You can't be in close proximities, and yeah, it was a little difficult, but good to also learn. In case I hope, knock on wood, that doesn't happen again. But
Yeah. No, honestly, you know, I don't know why I hadn't thought about how they how people interview during the pandemic, but I guess it's because Zoom was like really big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say Zoom interviews were a big thing too. So once we started coming back together, like then we started kind of doing the 6 feet apart. But I think Zoom interviews were a big portion of. Well, that's your B roll or that's your A roll, and then having to put some B roll on top of it. So it was very interesting.
Makes sense. Did you do interviews with the 6 feet apart rule?
I did, yeah. We did some. There were a couple times, not so much interviews per se, but where we had to do, when I was a part of A&M-SA, we had to do anchoring, and it was having to all like be on different parts of campus, and there was like 5 or 6 of us that had to be together at the same time, so we all had to practice that 6 feet apart, anchoring from so far back, you know, and having our masks on, so that was a little difficult too, but also a good learning experience.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. That's what I was curious about, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious about all of this. During your time as a student, you worked with recreational sports as a mascot handler.
Yes.
What was that like?
So yeah, that was my first ever job, and it was a very interesting one. So originally I got hired to be the mascot handler. So just walking around, driving the mascot wherever he needed to, because originally this was, I think the rules have changed since then, and General was able to go to like a whole bunch of events that people had requested him for, and so we'd have to drive a lot, we'd have to go to these different places, and it was really cool because one, I had just started driving, so driving General everywhere helped me get really comfortable with the highways because we had to get there on time. And originally, like, whenever I was his handler, I'd help him walk around, making sure everything was okay, kind of be his voice for him. So that was always fun. But there were the times where the person in the suit couldn't make it, so I was General's friend. Question, no, I'm just kidding. And General had to make an appearance as well, and I'd have one of the marketing girls kind of help General at that time. So if y'all don't know what that means that I was in the suit. So. But at that point too, it was just making sure you're hydrated, making sure you had breaks, making sure you could breathe. It was just a whole bunch of different things, but it was so much fun because we got to do fiesta. We got to see all these kids that would run around and just be so excited to see you, and it was just a really cool experience. So
That's so fun. Look at y'all.
Right?
I know. What classification were you in when you started that position?
I just started communications. So I think what kind of played into it too was that I was in charge of General's social media.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I did his stories, some of his posts. I think that's where it also kind of helped build my communications major. So I was just like, that's something I kind of want to do with my career. Just something in content making or video editing. So that was always fun to do with General too.
Like in that field you were thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of there, you know?
Yep.
That's a cool way to learn how to drive or like to get comfortable.
Yep. It was like you're forced to be comfortable.
with General, like in the backseat.
Yes. It's so funny.
Yeah. Now, you were also involved in student media with the Mesquite and Enlace, right? Could you tell me a little bit more about your experience?
Yeah, so for the Mesquite, I only did, I think, one semester, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that was, when did COVID happen? March 2020? So about fall 2020. So yeah, fall 2020, I did it for the semester, and I was a multimedia specialist. Question mark? Something with multimedia, I do
Yeah.
remember. And they were like, well, you're going to do video editing. And I was like, how am I supposed to do that with the pandemic? Like, nothing's really, and that's when they were just starting to open up anything on campus. So I did some events where they did still the 6 feet apart rule. They had the checking your temperature on campus. And they still had some events, but they were just making sure that they applied to those rules. One being that there was this big, what is it, the headphone party, I forgot what it's called.
Oh,
the silent disco.
Yeah, I was like,
Silent disco. And I was like, how is that going to work? Because again, COVID. So I went and I got footage of it and I did a story on it. And it was just really cool to see how like all these kids had come back on campus so excited to see each other, but still had to be a certain feet apart, as much as they could. So that was always fun. So I got to do some little events like that, and then if not, then the Zoom interviews. So I got to produce a few videos with them. So, and then after that, I think I realized, you know what, like at that point, I wanted to be in the news industry. Of course, that changed. But with the news industry, I was like, well, let me join Enlace my last year. Yeah, my last year, my senior year. And yeah, so.
Okay, a silly question, I guess, but how was your position different in the Mesquite, compared to Enlace?
Yeah, so Mesquite, I was the multimedia specialist, I think is what it was. And pretty much I would go out, do videos, do what I need to do, come back. Okay, cool. With Enlace, it was kind of the same thing, but you were making a news package and you were the one doing the video editing, but also sometimes you were also learning to be the anchor. You were also learning how to be soundboard, because at that point we actually had a media lab, and that's when it had just first opened. And we were able to mess with the soundboard, kind of learn with the big cameras. And so it was a lot of, you're going to do a little bit of everything and you're going to figure out which one you like the most. So Enlace was very much different too, because my very last semester, our TV, I'm trying to think, I forgot his title, but the person who did all the videos and video editing had left the school, the professor. And so they brought in new people and they were like, we don't know what y'all been doing. Can you show us? And so I was like, yeah, I'll take that lead. So I think I was a senior something. I can't remember the titles off the top of my head, but I was able to go into the RTV news class while also be part of it, also kind of help them, like, this is how the equipment works, this is what you're going to do, this is how editing works. So I did a lot for Enlace than I did the Mesquite was only there for one semester. Enlace, I was there for a whole year. So yeah. It's a huge difference.
It is. Yeah, I know. I see them both still running, of course. They're still very active on campus.
Yes, they are.
I love their work.
I do too, yeah.
It's great to see them. You also mentioned in your bio a career impacting opportunity, which was your internship. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so summer of 2021, so about the summer before I graduated, I was able to get an internship with a place called Dream Voice LLC. And there I was their social media person. I kind of was able to kind of do what I wanted to do within their restrictions, of course, learning all that stuff. And this one woman there, she saw the hard work that I was doing, because they pretty much kind of gave me all their assets and was like, figure it out. And I was like, I need to organize these assets. I need to do this. I need to do that. And she saw how much work I had put into it, how much I was working, and how hard I was working. And so when I left the summer internship, I think somewhere in October, because I graduated in December, she had called me and she said, hey, I'm at this new place, and they're looking for somebody to do the video editing, the marketing, like all the content creating stuff. Are you interested? I'll get you an interview. And I was like, absolutely, because at that point in October, I was like, what am I going to do after I graduate? Too late to ask that question. But I said, yes, absolutely. I got the interview, and then I ended up getting the job, and they were like, all right, you start in January after you graduate. And I was like, sounds great. So I'm very thankful for her. And I'm thankful for just everything that happened during those times.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Could you repeat to me the name of the internship of where you...
A Dream Voice LLC.
Dream Voice LLC. What do they do? Like what?
Don't ask me that. I have no idea. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm kidding. They what is it? They host something called Dream Week, and it's once a week. No, it's once a year, so it happens in January. I believe it's either 1 week or 2 weeks. I can't remember again off the top of my head, but it's pretty much a company that brings in all these other companies that helps just showcase everything in San Antonio. So whether it be artists, singers, dancers, like literature, like it's just a whole bunch of different things that we help put it on. And I know they still do it to this day. So I just helped their social media. But because it was the summer, it was only, hey, like upcoming in January, you know, don't forget us kind of type thing. So I was only there for like, I think 2.5 months. So, but I definitely learned a lot. So
Yeah. You definitely made an impact too.
yeah, I guess so. I was like, dang, I didn't know I made that much of an impact.
Great connection.
Yep.
Okay. And then you currently work here at Tamusa, right, as the multimedia production specialist.
Yes.
How is that going?
It's going really well. It's honestly really fun because originally too, when I got the job here on campus, I originally was with student affairs. And then they were like, oh, you know what? We're actually going to merge student affairs communications and we're going to merge marketing and communications, so MarCom, and we're going to merge y'all into one. We're going to create something called strategic communications or university marketing and strategic communications, so StratCom for short. We're going to merge y'all two, and y'all are going to, they're bringing me and my coworker over to their team. And we're like, cool. At first we were a little sad, you know, but honestly, I think it's just been a blessing, you know, having, you get even more experience, you're able to do all this stuff, able to have all the video equipment and being able to just create that bond with the whole university. So I think it's really fun. I'm having a great time.
I know. I go to events and you're like in the back. You're like,
yeah, with my camera, I'm telling you, people think I'm a ninja because I'll like pop up with the camera and they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get my footage.
I know. You look like you're having a lot of fun when you're doing that.
I do. And that's one thing that I think most people, I hope in the future, and I'll say this a little bit more for the future later on in the podcast too, is that like I'm having fun what I do because I love what I do. So I'll talk more about that later. So.
Yeah. Okay. As a multimedia production specialist, can you describe a little more as to what that entails for people who might not be aware?
Yeah, for sure. So what my job entails is pretty much, again, a little bit of everything, what multimedia is. So my main focus is videography, but I also specialize in photography, mostly those two. But I do help a little bit with like social media. I help our social media person a little bit. And I think our team works together with everything, a little bit of graphic design, because I do graphic design for my videos and things like that. So really it's a little bit of everything, but my specialty is mostly in videography and photography.
Okay. I know. I love seeing you around campus with like your camera and your tripod.
Yeah.
Now I'm fangirling. Okay. I'm sure you have worked on several projects, and like you mentioned, you have worked on several already in this position. Do you have a favorite project you've worked on so far?
Ooh. That's a good one. I have to say probably my commencement videos have been my favorite because those are the ones where we record students who are reading a letter to their loved ones at graduation. So it's the people who have talked to their mom, their dads, their brothers, sisters, you know, mentors, and it's such an emotional time to even record that. I always try not to cry whenever I'm recording it, but to just show that emotional state of, thank you for everything, thank you for being there. And now these people are crossing stage, and oh, it's such an emotional time. I had so many people crying last semester with that footage. So that's probably like one of my favorites to record and to edit. So
it seems like a good sign if you made people cry.
yes, that is always my goal. My goal, at least cry in a good way.
Yes, for that video. Yes. I know. I've seen those videos at commencement before. I didn't know that you were behind that.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me and my team.
That's really cool. Those are really nice. They're always such deep stories, I feel.
Oh, thank you. We try.
Okay. Do you have any advice for current students or maybe students that are currently communication students?
Yeah, so any advice I'd say is, and this is what I was talking about earlier, any advice that I would say was make sure you're doing something that you love. You should be going into something where, what is it called? What's the phrase where it's, you'll never work a day in your life if you do something you love? Is that what it's called?
If you love what you're doing? Maybe?
Yeah, it's like you'll never work a day in your life if you do something you love. And that's how I feel, and watch, this phrase is going to come back to me later on. It's going to haunt me. Okay. But it's pretty much, if you love that's what it is. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Oh. That's what it is. Okay. So I love, like I said, I love what I do, and I love being able, like, I don't ever dread coming into work because I love what I do. So for comm majors, you want to don't be afraid to try everything. If you're stuck in, I'm going to do this one specific thing, that's how a lot of us are. You're like, I want to do this one specific thing. But if you branch out and try other little things, you might find something that you didn't know you liked until you tried it. So try a little bit of everything, and don't be afraid who you truly are, with all this stuff. So I believe in you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so like I said, try a little bit of everything. Any advice for any other students that are non-communication major students? Just, like I said, find something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And you'll do amazing things. You'll always do amazing things.
That's great advice. I think it's important to remind students, or just people in general, to try different things, Say yes. Say yes to doing something.
Yeah, you'll never know. You'll never know what you'll find until you try it, so.
Yeah. Thank you for your advice. Okay, and then lastly, is there any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Oh my gosh, there's so many that I want to give.
It's going to be like 10 minutes more.
Oh, probably. Of course, shout out to my family. Of course, mom and dad for believing that I could make this an actual career field, so that's always fun. Definitely a shout out to, her name is actually Jessica. Jessica for being the person to actually get me my interview and during that internship. And she started the whole thing for me. I'm set for my career, and I'm just going to be learning more as I go down the road. So thank you for helping me start where I'm at. And then also to all my coworkers, my team, especially Kaylee Turina. She's the best. She always keeps me on track. Always make sure that I'm doing okay, and I always make sure that like all my work is okay. So I love her so much. I love you, Kaylee. So just Oh, and then shout out, of course, to the communications department. So thank y'all for teaching me so much, and especially Dr. Sintha. He's no longer at Tumusa, but he's I don't even remember which university he went to. But thank you for teaching me at least what I needed to know, because now I'm able to use it for my career field and help others. So,
well, it was great having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.